Happy New Year to everybody out there, especially you fellow homesteaders and aspiring homesteaders. And wasn't much celebration here at the house. We actually watched that Netflix series Little Big Farm, which I think my wife had already seen, but I hadn't sat down for the whole thing. It's a really great movie, so suggest everybody watch that if you haven't yet seen it. Today I want to get compost up by the house, like a compost bin, because if I take it down to where I'm starting a compost pile, it's bringing in predators, and I think that's what happened with the geese, is I had some composting food in there, and especially things like eggs. I mean, they smell rotten eggs for like a mile. So if I get one of those 1-ton feed bags and put a soil base in there, if the soil's not frozen, which it probably is, I'll have to check my pile with the tractor. If I can get some of that up, put a base in there, and then I can do some active composting, and then come spring, those feed bags have those really robust handles on them, obviously, and I can just loop those around the tractor bucket, take it down to where the active compost pile will be, and then at that point we'll build the infrastructure and stuff like that for that compost pile, so that it's actually not creating an odor. It needs a base, it needs a big start. So with compost, you got to be at least 3 feet high, 3 feet, like a 3-foot cube at minimum, to start creating the heat needed to break down. So we're just gonna get the bag today and see if we can set that up. The kids want to go sledding, so we're gonna get the sledding in. Alright, I wanted to update you on that heat plate I put in with the lovebirds. We call them lovebirds because it's just a rooster and a hen. So what had happened with the heat plate I put in this small coop is that yesterday I gave them new water that was fresh from the house. It didn't have any ice in it, so I brought a bucket from the garage, took the ice bucket into the garage, and then all day there was no freeze over of that water. So I'm sure there's freeze over tonight, but it lasted the whole day with just that little ambient heat given off by that chick heat plate. All right, so, oh, look at that. Look at that. Okay, so it did finally freeze over. It's actually pretty comfortable in here. And remember, we were into the negatives last night. So, yeah, it's got a thin layer of ice on it. It's thickened up. But they've drank quite a bit, and this lasted all day yesterday. I checked it right before sundown, and it was still had no ice buildup on it. So obviously the negative, whatever we were at, -2, -3 last night, you can still see, the bubbles in there. So yeah, the top is frozen over. So in this situation, obviously a heat lamp in there, if you run in power, you could do that because I'm running power, but general heat lamps either 125 or 250 watt, depending on what bulb you have in there. And heat lamps are a massive fire risk, and it's plenty comfortable enough in there. Probably was 25, 30. If they were closer to the plate, they would have been warmer, but heck, you can't beat that. It kept the water, it kept me, because that water would have froze in an hour and a half without that heat plate, and it went a good 8 hours at least before it totally froze over. So I'll take it in that temperature. Now if it was 20 degrees outside, that thing would never freeze over. So just put that in perspective. We've been in the single digits or below 0 this entire time. All right, the pig water is doing okay. Well, there's plenty of water for them to get access to, but it's freezing up over here. Yeah, it's pretty solid right there. So yeah, near there, obviously that's totally fine. I'm gonna put this back down. All right, that's a little better. Try to keep them from that heater, but they haven't pulled on the cord, and this thing's doing its job, so no complaints. Look at this turkey, trying to get a free breakfast. Hey, turkey, what are you doing? Come on, scram, dudes. You guys are like little hyenas. Everybody's got to eat. Check in on our ladies here and Mr. Roo. They're having fun. I locked their door up. Still got a gap in it. But it's actually kind of cozy in here. Just got them some fresh water because they were kicking everything in it, but they are good to go. And this pedal stool warmer working pretty well. It's still icing up around the edges, but no problems. Oh, this key's getting, look at him, look at him. He's like, wait a second. You got a full belly, now you're ready to fight, huh? Alright, well, I'll leave you to it. A lot of snow mixed in with it, but it's gonna have to work for our base layer because it's all frozen into chunks. So basically everything's hard at our temperatures right now. Maybe this will loosen up. Alright, well, doing that in the dead of winter was a little more of a pain in the butt than it should have been, but all in all, pretty easy. So we got our base layer in there, and then I can also tie this up, which is the nice thing about this. I can close this, tie it off, and move it anytime I want, but right now this will just give me a chance to load up some, I'll put some straw, some pine shavings, things like that in here, and then I've got some old eggs that need to go in here, as well as other stuff that's just gross. I don't want to feed the chickens. Coffee grinds will go in here, and it'll just make for a good little mobile compost unit until season comes where we can get our big boy developed. Resolutions, the wonderful thing that we all make, and then by February it's like 95% of people don't follow through. So I'll give mine a shot here. Over this past year we have just not made the progress that we wanted to make, and mostly that's health related. My wife's going through a lot of stuff in that regard, and it's just really zapped her as having the endurance to do all the things, especially when it comes to like being in the garden. Obviously, you gardeners out there know, especially in the season of planting and pulling and weeding and harvesting, it's just a lot of time. So, and for me, basically for me, I've got spinal inflammation that's it's through the roof. Anytime I'm walking around the property or anything, I could lay down and go to bed. So it's basically just like a constant exhaustion, I guess is the best way to say it. And then you I'll drink more coffee and try to push through it, and then you're just compounding another issue on top of it with, consuming caffeine, because you can't have a property like this and do nothing. You can't just sit in your condo or your apartment and not and just rest, right? Those kind of environments, you can do that. You can't do that here, especially when you have animals. And driveways have to be cleaned and plowed, and trees fall down, have to be cut up. You got to get firewood harvested, and those are just all bare minimum type things. Those are just maintenance. You got to make sure certain things are done when you get these heavy freezes, so you don't have water lines freezing. You guys know this. So for me, I've smashed a couple vertebrae, car accidents when I was younger, and then powerlifting when I was younger. I'm 60 pounds lighter than I used to be, and a lot of that is because now I can't even put weight on my shoulders and go up and down because it just smashes that vertebrae again. But my New Year's resolution is to stop giving the back pain an audience. So the problem with back pain is that it affects you mentally and energy-wise just as much, if not more so, than the actual pain itself. Because I've had all the other injuries. I've partially torn rotator cuff, between football, powerlifting, and all that kind of stuff. I've had my share of injuries, and those are just pain, and that's not a big deal. That's smashing your finger with a hammer or whatever it might be. It's not a big deal. But when you're messing up your central, basically your motherboard, right? It doesn't matter if your disk drive works if your motherboard's fried. And that's basically what it comes down to. You get digestion issues. This all depends on where you smashed it. If your nerves aren't flowing right, and you might still have function, for example, like your kidneys. So let's say your kidneys are only functioning at 70%. A lot of time that's viewed in isolation rather than a spinal injury, but a lot of time it's either inflammation or spinal, just some kind of pinching in the spinal cord, or compression or pressure on the nerve that's causing you to get 70% of its functionality, and the other 30's cut off in one way or another. So the best way I can describe it is nothing's functioning at 100%. And I really noticed it back when I was maybe 21, 22, where one side of my body was degenerating and the other side was not. So my right side, all my muscles are smaller on my right side. And so I was kind of going with the thought that, well, we just won't, I won't push as hard. I'll try to take it easy and pinpoint where I spend my energy, but it doesn't work. I think the body adapts, and if you don't push it to the limit consistently, it doesn't necessarily adapt. Now, that's not saying I'm going to do anything crazy and put my spine under incredible stress, but this year has to be productive. Last year was a huge disappointment, especially once I got feeling better, maybe May, and I was running a mile every day in the field. I was lifting some weights, and then, doing the other stuff with an okay amount of energy. And then I got a sickness that lasted like 3 weeks, and then I got heat stroke in the middle of that. And for whatever reason, I never really got out of that. I never really got feeling even back to where I was right before that, which was not great, but it was suitable. And then all the other projects suffered. So I'm not saying I'm not going to do the necessary health things to keep inflammation down, because I have to do those. That's our life here. I can't do any dairy. I can't do any gluten. I can't do refined sugars. I can't do any of the stuff that makes that spinal cord inflame at all and send any more issues down the nerves than I already have. And that's a huge part. Inflammation is behind almost every disease on the planet, and inflammation's a good thing when you have a rolled ankle or a messed up knee or whatever. It's trying to bring stuff to that to heal it, but chronic inflammation is the exact opposite. It puts tremendous stress on the body, uses up your energy reserves. You know, if you had a battery, it would be using up 70% of your battery, and then, well, you only got 30% of your battery left to just do everyday things. And another way that your energy gets really compromised by it. So, not going to give it an audience. I'm just not going to. And I mean by that is, what needs to be done needs to be done. And I have to be stronger mentally to look at the long-term vision and where I want our family to be, and not say, you know, not lean over the counter and go, oh gosh, my back hurts today, or gosh, I'm tired, I just can't get going. Those both might be true, but I'm just not going to put it out into the world. I'm not going to put it into my conscience. I'm going to just try and power through. I mean, I'm going to fail sometimes, and you know, and if funds allow, maybe come up with some alternative treatments. You know, if I things get really bad, just go to the chiropractor, and that generally gives me like 48 hours of relief, and then it's all back to the same. But that's my New Year's resolution, is to really focus in on that, and see what kind of difference it can make, because we need a way better year this year than we did last year, that's for sure. So this is where we're going to put up a light fixture for this back area by the garage. Now, my wife has picked out a light, and it is here, so this has probably been hanging here for a year, so we're going to go ahead and bust that box open and see if we can't get this done. Okay, let's see what she got. Ooh, fancy. This will be pretty nice. If I can find the end of the bag. How do you get in this thing? There we go. Alright. Just trying not to break it, Ben. I like it. I think that'll look pretty good. This has 3 of these smaller bulbs. I forget what they call that sizing. The small screw-ins. Got all the hardware. Is that everything? I hope I had the bulbs for this. I didn't even check that. Alright, well there she is. Let's put her up.
Can't wait until it's ready.
Black roll of tape on the windowsill. Can you grab that for Daddy?
Sure. If I know what windowsill it is.
The one over here by me. In one of those teal bins. The teal bins up on the windowsill. Other side, Shell.
This side?
Yeah, those flat teal bins. I think there's a black roll of tape. Okay. See it? Perfect. Thank you. Alright, and I have the wrong kind of screwdriver. Alright, let me show you. Alright, so it's up. Here's my concern, because there's no recession on this, because it's just a tongue and groove 2-inch thick floor. Is that now we're gapped about a ½ inch. If this was flush up, we're gapped about a ½ inch, maybe 5/8. So what I'll have to do is I have to bore out a little bit of the floor. Or if I can crank down, I know what to do. So the hole that I drilled for the wire, all I have to do is widen that up a little bit, so I can take the threaded bolt carrier thing there and turn it in to the ceiling. So we'll give that a shot. All right, let's try to do this without nicking my wire here. It's gonna want to dance. Still got wiggle there. All right, we're good. All right, this is actually the next day because I lost this. And then I finally found it, and it was in the insulation on the back side of this light after I was like looking everywhere around the house. So, we're gonna finish this up. Fine. All right, so there it is in all its glory there. Not sure what we're gonna do with the ceiling yet though, because they have a clear coat on it, and it's too close to the color of the logs behind me. It's just too much wood, so I'm not sure. We probably can't stain this like a darker tone or a lighter tone. So maybe we'll paint it. We don't really want to, but for now, that light will do the trick, and I like it. Looks good. Happy New Year's, and thanks again for watching.